Welcome back to Ride On. Today we have Julie Vets, the founder and CEO of GOFLUO, all the way from Belgium. So I'm very excited to introduce you all to Julie. Welcome, Julie, to the show.
Hi, James. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, no problem. I see you've got quite a bit of stuff going on in your background. Are we at your store or at your showroom? What are we seeing?
We're in the showroom, actually. So in the showroom, the B2B resellers come and choose what they want for their own store. They can see the whole collection here. I can show you around if you want.
Amazing. Yeah, give us the tour. There we go. Yep.
Like there on the wall, we have some nice bags.
There we go. Sweet. GOFLUO. What does that stand for, and what do you have for a company here?
Yeah, GOFLUO actually brings a whole collection of safety items, high visibility clothing and accessories. So the word comes actually from the word fluorescent, because we do a lot of neon colors, and go is from always being on the go. So I started the company because I noticed there was not enough offer in high visibility clothing, and nobody was really doing something fun with it. So that's why I started a company.
Yeah, amazing. Julie presented at Micromobility Europe a few months ago, and I loved her presentation, and I think what you stand for. We talk a lot here at Ride On about, of course, the biggest barrier to entry, we believe, in micromobility, and getting to like the 5 billion riders we think that will one day participate is safety. And so I think what you're trying to do and what you're pioneering in creating like these amazingly cool safety accessories for, of course, micromobility, also I know running and other things as well. I think you're really a pioneer in this category. So yeah, where are you with the company? I guess where are you headquartered? How big is the team? Just some of those things I'm very curious to hear more about.
Yeah, so we're located in Belgium, so like in the center of Europe. It's a small country where a lot of people cycle to work, to school, kids going to school with their little bikes. It's great to be in the center of Europe, because in Europe also other countries like Germany and France, they're also like a lot of investing in cycling and micromobility. Also, of course, the Netherlands, which is next to us. I started a company in 2018, so we're celebrating now our 5th anniversary, or birthday, it's better. And we're now with a full female team of 8 persons, actually.
Amazing. And so you're in Europe mostly. Of course, you're, I think, heavily influenced by the cycling culture. I think the story of your founding story is, I think you were recently in maybe 2018, you had your first child, and you just sort of were looking for safety gear that you thought would be fashionable. Or I'm just curious what that inspiration was. And
so actually, I was working as a fashion designer for 8 years before I started a company. And I had already one child. I was pregnant of my second child, and I was thinking like, okay, I see a lot of people on the street bring their kids to school, and they were wearing ugly yellow safety vests to be seen. Also, the kids were wearing it, and I was thinking like, okay, I will be soon a mother standing at school with the kids. How do I want my kids to look? How can I do something more attractive with this piece of clothing? Because I was busy, of course, with designing clothes every day, so it came like naturally, like, okay, it would be much more, people would much more wear the piece of clothing if it would look nice, because now you look a bit stupid when wearing it. It's actually made for like standing on the road when you're having car trouble, or like for construction workers. And as a fashionable mother, I don't want to look like a construction worker. Also, I don't want my kids to look like one. So yeah, the idea came naturally, and I can show you one of the first designs I made was like this.
Yes,
A more cute style to wear over a jacket in the winter, and then with a little bit of skirts. I also did like really out of the box thinking, like adding sequences to it, adding prints. And of course, I don't want it to look anymore like the yellow safety vest. So you don't think of it anymore. It's like really a piece of clothing. Also, I combine the neon colors in a different way, so it's less like aggressive and it becomes more fun. And all the styles, of course, are focused on the high visibility. So having the high reflective fabric in 360 around the from every angle.
So I think it's amazing that you had this insight, which I totally agree with. This idea that when you see people in the traditional yellow safety vest, it literally is just the worst piece of clothing possible. Like couldn't be any uglier, couldn't feel any more awkward on the body. Um, and I'm so glad that someone actually is doing something about it. I'm sure, being an entrepreneur like you are, you thought, okay, things are ugly, and then I'm gonna solve it with these beautiful, accessories. But how much trouble do you run into with the regulation in terms of like exactly how to make safety clothing? I'm sure it's heavily regulated. Like, did you feel really constrained by that? Were you have to bend rules? I'm just curious what that process was like to actually get this clothing approved for safety.
It was really not easy because in Europe there's like a European rule for safety clothes. And back 7 years back when I had the ID, the rule was like very strict, and there was really only the yellow safety vest with the two stripes, and that was it. So I went to the people who need to approve it, the product to come on the market to get the certificates, and they really were like, you can't do this. They really said to me like, this is impossible what you want. Safety vest is yellow, has two stripes. You can't just change it. No one have ever done this before. So yeah, I had a small mental breakdown because I already invest a lot of money and effort and like make pictures and designs and like pitched it to stores and to see, okay, can I make this into a business? So I was really convinced, okay, it's a good idea. But then, yeah, these people working with the government rules, like, were not so enthusiastic. But I called them back a day after and I said, like, okay, I really want to bring this product to the market. So let's sit together, let's discuss, and I will adapt my designs. And I'm sure we can find a way so I can make this work. But it took me like a year to adapt everything and then to get the certificate. So yeah, it was a long process, and I'm glad now it changed. And also, the woman who certified my product, she was also in the group that made a new rule on a European level. Then, so the rule is now a bit more flexible, and there's more possible. I think they also saw that it didn't make sense. Like the mobility has changed so much, and the rule was like 30 years old.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's good that you're, of course, not just pioneering amazing, cool clothing, but you're also pioneering the rules. So with your lines, like, are all your accessories and clothing, is it all safety approved? Like, is there a certification? Is that something you see on the clothing? Like, how do you know if your clothing that you're getting is actually, certified by the government as approved as safety clothing?
Mm-hmm. Yes, the most pieces are certified, but some, like the one you see there on the doll, it's a dégradé, so the bottom, it really reflects. I should show it with flash, then you could see.
Mm-hmm.
Show it because it's quite cool. But like, for example, that style is not certified because it's too complex. It's because of the dégradé, the gradient. You can't.
Yep.
But it just doesn't match the rule, but
Okay.
it is reflective. But,
Okay. So some of your accessories, some of your clothing aren't actually, at that safety certification level, but that you're still trying to make them as safe as possible. Do I understand that
yes,
correctly?
of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And also some don't need it, like jackets. There's no rule for the jackets. It's only for the less style. So yeah, it's a bit complicated, but of course, every style we make is focused on visibility, and we also notice it on the website. Like, this is more for day visibility. This is for night. This is for night and day. So
I love it. Okay, and then is it any different in the U.S. where I am than in Europe in terms of the regulations and safety certifications that you need?
Yes, in the US, there's not the same certificates. It doesn't exist. There is some for construction workers, but there's none for more occasional use or non-professional use.
Interesting. All right, let's get into like more of the consumer. So clearly, you're making some eye-catching, appealing clothing. Um, how do you go to market with the consumer? Are you trying to market as a safety product, or are you just marketing as a just a better piece of clothing than the Nikes or the Lululemons or whoever else you might be competitive against? Like how do you think about marketing to the consumer and potentially changing their mindset on how they think about buying clothing for mobility?
Yeah, I think the shift is a bit difficult or maybe unexpected. I can give an example. When I went to stores in the beginning, like to resell my product, and they were really saying like, yeah, nobody is asking for a nice safety product. And yeah, it's really a new clothing category. So people need to get used to it, and they also need to see it or get in touch with it to know it exists. So it's really a new category. I always say I also invented like a new name for the product. So because high vis vests, it's just doesn't sound nice. So I call it a body glower. And I really put a body glower in the market as a new piece of clothing and more like an actual, clothing piece in a more lifestyle fashion segment.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. So body, no one's asking for it, right? Like I like that idea. Like oftentimes big breakthroughs come even though no one's asking for them. They just didn't know it was possible. So of course, you've got a solution to potentially a very big problem for anyone moving, which is everyone basically. And then with the body glower, has that caught on? Is that something that you think will catch on? Um, you know, how to uh, how do people use that in their day to day vernacular? Like, oh, I'm putting on my body glower. Like, what's your thought there in terms of what you're trying to do with that positioning?
yeah, I think it will need a long time to get people to know the product and the name, but I think eventually it will. And I think also in the end, people who are like cycling or running or walking the dog, they will just have like a body glower on their hanger when they take their jacket and it's dark, they just put their body glower on top of it. It will be just become normal. I think also because the nice options are there, people will be willing to wear it and to integrate it into their daily closets.
That makes sense. In terms of like how you think about your markets and how you're penetrating. So you are coming to the U.S. Um, how do you think the U.S. market is different than the European market, and how do you think about distribution? Maybe just like being direct to consumer DTC versus going through some of the channel partners that I know you have and distributors and more big box and small boutique retailers.
Mhm. Yeah, I think the US market is definitely different. In Europe, you have all these little small independent resellers like cycling stores. There are like a lot in every small village. There is a cycling store. I think in the US, it's not the case. Um, and then you have the running stores, and of course, you also have the outdoor chains. I have some in Europe as well, and I think you can compare them to the REI or like the fleet feeds from the US. So I think that should be our target resellers, where our target customers also are. And I think, yeah, we should be available on all channels, like because people will maybe look for a safety item or product on Amazon. So I think we also should be there with some items to get the first touch point with the brand. And yeah, I think D2C we also need to do because this is really a new product and it's a lifestyle. So we also want to show really the lifestyle, the imagery, the videos, how to use it in your daily life, so people can recognize themselves in the pictures actually. So they of course want to buy and use it. And yeah, you can do that the best through the D2C channel because in the resellers always have like a smaller product range, maybe not the selection like we want to promote as a brand.
How do you think about your, I mean, just like if you think about your sales channels today, like how much of it is DTC versus retail?
It's actually 50-50 right now. So I think it's a healthy combination, and I would like to keep it more or less like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. In terms of like I mean, clearly you have a large portfolio that, of course, we can show as much as possible of your portfolio. But what are some of the best selling items today?
Show you one of these. It's actually the rainbow ones, or the like this one. It's mostly reflective fabric, so it lights up at night. And then these, the shades, people really like it. Also, it's a bit of a retro design, so people also like that, I think. And yeah, this one is actually a variation of our bestseller. We also have it with a hood, but this one we especially made for the American market, and it's also perforated, so it's very breathable.
I know on stage at Micromobility Europe, you're wearing one of your fannies. Like, and so how do your bags sell versus your, more of your shirts and jackets?
For now, really, the body glowers is the best category. Because we have just more competition for the bags. And I think that's the only reason, because people really love the bags and they really start to sell well. And people often start with buying a body glower because they can't find it somewhere else and they don't have it in their closet. So they buy that first, and then afterwards they buy like a jacket and a bag. So because they really love the brand.
Yeah, the bag to me is so interesting when I saw it, and thinking that like no matter what, I might always need my bag when I'm mobile. Where the challenge sometimes with clothing is like I want to change clothing, or maybe the temperature doesn't fit that clothing for whatever reason. Where the bag is like always with me, so I think, oh, I always have this I have this format of a bag that also is always going to protect me. It's safe no matter what time of day and everything. I love that.
I show you our new bag. Let me turn this. So we're
going shopping here.
We start now also with some smaller bags, because people can wear it like all the time. Like you can put it on the front of your handlebar or stroller on our scooter, and then just take it off, and then you have like it's now a bit.
And Julie, you feel confident that bag is protective for the user, like, and that will create enough reflection, that will create the type of it will create the type of safety features that you would expect from like a reflective yellow band.
Yeah, of course, if you have a bag, it would be even better if you combine it with a body glower, but It's already like on the side reflective, and the whole ribbon is reflective. And also during the day, the neon color also catch the eye and makes you visible. So, of course, the more neon and reflective you add, the better. But you don't want to look like a Christmas tree in the end.
Yes, of course. Absolutely. No Christmas trees. So we've talked a lot about maybe how we think about, of course, the appeal of looking better with being safe. I also feel like your brand has a lot of fun to it and a lot of playfulness. I know you do like the twinning, where of course not only do you have reflective gear for yourself, but also like maybe your dog or your children. Like, how do you think about the fun aspect of this? How much do you think fun? How much do you think it's about kind of being more attractive and sexy versus like just, hey, this can also be fun and playful, and so much of mobility can be fun in the way that we know we ride. So I'm just curious how you think fun plays into your clothing line.
In the first place, people are buying it for the visibility and to be seen. But then, you also look fun, and like people are telling me, okay, when I'm wearing your product or having your bag, people are like really asking, oh, wow, this is such a nice bag, or you look so nice, and I see you from a distance. And they're really, the fun aspects becomes important, and that becomes, because of that, they become like brand lovers and buy more pieces. And I think it's our task, yeah, to make the safety also a bit more fun, and also we make it like light, more like it's not a heavy topic. When you look at our website, you become like happy. It's not like we don't promote like you need to wear this or maybe a car will hit you. It's something we will never say, because we want people to feel safe and like more confident when wearing our product. So yeah, because it's fun, it automatically also yeah, makes them more comfortable, and yeah, they love to wear it.
Yeah, here's one like that might be a little bit controversial, but for instance, I don't like to wear a helmet. I know a lot of people don't like to wear helmets. In the U.S., it's a little different culturally than in Europe. Um, but for instance, I might be interested in wearing a GoFluo like hat that I know could, of course, create safety. It's the highest point. You know, if you're riding a scooter, on an e-bike, anything, your head is the highest point. You know, so anything that could be reflective or brightly colored could actually, it can be a form of safety. Have you ever thought about creating something like a hat, or even for women, of course, a larger hat, where because I know, I mean, it's not like, I feel like people don't talk about it, but no one really likes to wear a helmet. And yet we feel maybe even forced to wear a helmet out of guilt or shame or for safety. But yeah, I'm just curious if you ever thought about, because now you're competing against the helmet in a way, because it's a safety argument, but it's a much more, I think it's a much maybe more well-received safety argument than having to wear a helmet. So just curious if you thought about headwear at all.
Yeah, we're actually planning to make a hat, but it's not that easy because it should be also breathable, and like, yeah. So we're like to figuring out how we can make this ideal combination. But of course, we also, in our pictures, we promote also wearing helmets, because yeah, in the end, it's also very important. So
Well, here, personal question: do you wear a helmet when you ride?
not always, but when I do like longer than from work to office distance, there's just one safe cycling road, so it's not that needed. But when I drive like faster or longer, I wear it, and then when I forget it, I feel like uncomfortable, because I'm now getting used to it, and then yeah. And also my kids wear helmets; they're in the cargo bike, and
Right. Yeah, of course. Maybe my kids always have to wear it. They're like, Dad, where's your helmet? I'm like, well, but yeah,
but sometimes it's like, yeah, annoying, because then you have your hair up, and then
well, sure. Yeah. No, there's all sorts of design problems with helmet.
yeah.
How about this? Who do you look up to? Who are you inspired by? Like what brand do you kind of look at and say, okay, that's the path we're going to follow with GoFluo?
Yeah, I think I look up to like really big brands like Patagonia, Lululemon, like KW. I don't know if it's big in the US, like raincoats. And often, yeah, they're all grown from like out of a small niche. I think like Lululemon with the legging, Patagonia was like the climbing gear. So, and they really became like big outdoor brands. So that's also a dream for me. And yeah, until now, if you say, okay, name a high visibility brand, there is no yet you think of. So I really want to claim that
Okay.
space.
So the
Brand,
category is high visibility brand.
yeah,
You want to be the biggest in the high
the
visibility brand.
biggest.
Let's talk about your culture really quickly. You mentioned earlier that of course, you're a female founder and your team is completely female. Your core employed team, clearly you work with contractors that are, broader than that. But I also am intrigued by your manifesto that you shared at Micromobility Europe that I'll just read here. And again, I'd love to I'd love for you to tell me, who this is meant for. Is this internal? Is it external? Is this both? But your manifesto reads as follows. It says, show up early, be home late, beat anonymity, beat boredom, get noticed. Your presence is required to brighten the day. Keep going, keep beaming, join in, show up. That's quite a little manifesto there, or a big manifesto, I should say. Who'd you write that for? And I'm just curious how it's interpreted.
Yeah, it's really to. I think it really says what we stand for. Like we want to empower, inspire, and motivate our clients, our customers to always like show up even when it's like raining or dark outside. Like keep going, take your bike, maybe leave the car home for a shorter distance. Also when, like, for example, you're training for a running event, like, yeah, there are some times when it's dark or cold, you maybe think like, oh, I want to sit in my sofa and watch TV, but still keep going. And beat boredom, of course, towards like the colors. And it's just also in my personal DNA, like I don't like boring. I think, yeah, you should stand out and like go for it every day again and like make the difference. I also did it with the brand. Like if I didn't like push through in the beginning, it wouldn't be there. So yeah, all these things is to motivate and empower our customer.
And yeah, I think that's beautiful, and I think it's well. I think the way you wrote it, and of course we'll share it in the slide format you had. Um, I do find it to be inspiring, much like you'd expect from some of the brands that you mentioned and some of the inspiring positioning that they make. But I also think yours goes a little further, right? It's like that saying, like, there's no bad weather, there's just bad equipment, or so much of why we want people to ride can be impeded by life's excuses. And again, really big excuses, really big objections. I don't feel safe. I don't feel healthy, don't feel athletic. Some of the things that we know can hinder mobility. And I think your message, and of course what you build as a product, are things that can overcome those objections and inspire people to try. And once they try, of course, we know they tend to stay with it. So yeah, I want to compliment you on that. I think you've done a great job there in creating that manifesto. And then finally, Julie, so let's just talk about where do people go to buy your gear, and I'd just be curious on price points and what your accessibility looks like and things like that.
Yeah, so now we don't make only body glowers, so we make products for everyone outdoors. So we have also like jackets. We have even dog wear to twin with, so you can wear the same vest or the same design inspired vest as your dog. It's very popular actually. Yeah, in the future we've also come back with rainwear. So really, we want to cover the outdoor, and people are wearing it to cycle, to run, but also like to ski, to ice skate, to horse ride. It's like all outdoor activities, people start using it. So it's very nice to see. And yeah, you can find us in Europe already in like 300 stores. And in the US, we're now having like 25 resellers, but we hope by end of the year having 100. We have a distribution partner in the US, and they're helping us with getting the product into the stores. And the D2C launch is planned for next year. But of course, you can already buy on our European web shop. We ship worldwide, and yeah.
Amazing. So that's just gofluo.com.
Yes.
And then how should the people think about the investment in your products? Like what are the price points, and how do you think about those price points?
Yeah, I think the product is very affordable for like almost everyone. It's also something we want to achieve because we are a safety product. So it's like a bit a high-end safety product, but it's not luxury because we want a lot of people to use the product. And yeah, in euros, it's between the best sellers are between 50 and 70 euro. So in dollar, it's like between 60 and $80 are the most styles. And of course, you can wear them a lot of times. Like if you compare it to buying a T-shirt or a sweater, you won't wear it as much as you will wear the body glower, because when you're outside, you will want to wear it. Like it's very durable as well. It lasts really for years because the fabrics are strong. You can wash it.
How much of your customer base is female versus male?
The male base is also growing, but often the woman buys for the whole family. So she buys them for herself, for the kids, for the husband. But yeah, we're growing also our male styles. Let me show you some about which shows. Let's see. Like for example, this is a very popular one. So it's full reflective, and then windstopper in the front and like breathable in the back. So, and it goes with a jacket, with a sweater, with a t-shirt. So yeah, I think the customer base will still keep on growing. This is a more performance one, soft for more performance cycling or running. And we will also come up with more running items. Also more. We also try to do a lot of unisex items.
That's great. Yeah, I think it makes sense. It follows kind of a pattern of early adoption in fashion.
And also the styles stay in collection. Like all the best sellers, they just never out of stock. That's the idea. We don't do a whole new collection every
Great.
year.
Great. Yeah, and we'll also we'll do a giveaway to the audience for a lucky winner. So that'll be exciting. Hopefully, I'll win. I want some of this stuff. This is really cool. I want to go fluo like a starter pack. Like I feel like I want a jacket and I want a bag and just a couple of different things. Like I think that'd be just a wonderful gift to give. Very thoughtful and like, hey, I know you ride, so I'm thinking about your safety, but I also want you to look cool and feel good when you're riding. Seems like it'd just be a wonderful gift for someone.
Yeah, it's a very popular gift actually.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, Julie, thank you so much for coming on the show. I think what you guys are doing is incredible, and I'm excited for your success so far. And I think the high visibility category is just getting going. And as well, just to compliment you, as we know this is a huge barrier to entry to safety and comfort. And so what you're pioneering is just so critical to our space. So I'm excited for what you're doing and excited to see you grow.
Thanks.
Okay. See you later.